That the women's evangelism addresses is that for those of us, and I would assume that's everyone at some point or another, that finds themselves in the midst of a situation where they believe that they are facing oppression from every side, either be it in the workplace where you are trying to get advancement and it seems like you are being blocked on every end, or in a personal situation that you are trying to overcome, or that you are praying that the Lord will enable us to overcome or take us out of that situation. And we've all experienced it at some time or another in lots of different degrees. And for most of us, we always believe that our deliverance comes by the Lord removing us from that situation. And when I say removing us from the situation, physically taking us out of there. A lot of us believe that sometimes when we're in a certain job and we've been trying to get a promotion, we've been applying for different jobs, and the promotion has not come within that job, sometimes we believe that our promotion lies in a different job. Or if we're in a certain state and something is happening, or we're trying to have something happen and it's not happening, we believe that, it's by getting out of that state or relocating to a different state that our deliverance lies. But the word of the Lord is telling us today that we don't always have to be removed from that situation for our deliverance to come. Amen. The Lord will always, if He has purposed something for you, no matter where you are, and no matter how things are looking in that situation, if the Lord has purposed that your deliverance take place there, then that is where your deliverance is going to take place. Amen. If we remember the story from Luke chapter 22, which was the events that were leading up to the Passover, Luke chapter 22, from verses 1 and 2, it says, "Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover. And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him being Jesus, for they feared the people." At this time, Jesus and his disciples were pretty much keeping a low profile because the Pharisees and the scribes had already sent word that if anyone were to see him, they were to seize him because, they wanted to kill him because of all the attention that he was getting and so on and so forth. So Jesus and his disciples pretty much kept a low profile. But if we go further into that chapter from verses 7 to 13, it says, "And then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And he sent Peter and John, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare? And he said unto them, Behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth. And he shall say unto the good man of the house, The master saith unto thee, Where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he shall show you a large upper room furnished. There make ready." What this passage symbolizes is that even though Jesus was at a time in his life where he was surrounded by his enemies, because these people that were seeking to kill him represented the enemy. They were all working on behalf of Satan to try to kill him, to end his ministry. But when he sent his disciples, he said to them, "Go into this place and a man will meet you." He didn't say go and look for a man with a pitcher. He said the man with the pitcher of water will meet you there. And then follow him into the room where a room has already been prepared for you. And it was in this room that the Passover, that the Last Supper took place. And all of us who are Christians today know the significance of that Last Supper and also the washing of feet and why all those events had to happen. Had Jesus hidden and stayed and not come out, none of this would have happened. But even in the midst of all of his enemies, the Lord had already prepared the place where these events were going to take place. And that's why I say the Lord did not remove him to go and do it in another city where there were no enemies. It was important that he did it right where he was, even in the midst of his enemies. And if we go to Psalms chapter 23, verse 5, it says, Thou hast prepared a table before me in the midst of my enemies. Not outside of my enemies, not in a different state from my enemies, or in a different job, or in a different situation, but in the midst of my enemies. When the Lord has purposed something significant to happen in your life, and the enemy is trying to prevent it from coming to pass, as long as we remain faithful, as long as we continue to persevere, and as long as we walk in His will, because it's only if we are walking in His will that we truly believe that that thing has been purposed. If we fall victim to fear, if we fall victim to uncertainty, if we fall victim to doubt, then there's no way we will stand fast in order for that purpose to be fulfilled. So that's why it is so important. We know already that Jesus was focused on His mission. Regardless of what was going on, He knew the mission, He knew what was going to happen, but He had to actually walk through it. But even though we cannot map out every day, every minute for the rest of our lives, those of us who are walking in Christ, and who have taken that commitment to walk in Christ, Christ has already told us that we will face trials and tribulations. But when we know we are walking in His will, remaining prayerful, remaining steadfast in the Word, and believing that this Word that He tells us is true, He does not lie. So even when it looks like things are going wrong around us, and even when the situation looks impossible, as long as we are trusting, and as long as the Lord has purposed that event to happen, no matter what the enemy is doing around us, that event will take place in their midst. And there isn't anything that the enemy will be able to do about it. Amen. So the message is simply that no matter how it looks, the vision is the most important thing. And it is not the vision of the circumstance, but the vision of the God that we worship. Thank you. Thank you. Bravo.